So today I'm going to try to do a final pass on all 16 of the valves. I got the one head sitting right here and the other's just down there on the shelf. But basically what I'm doing is I'm going over each of the valves with a 400 grit lapping compound. It's a little bit finer than what you get at Pep Boys. That's what I originally did with these heads. I went over it with just the regular permatex. I think it's just called valve grinding compound. But like I said, stuff's pretty coarse, and it gives you a very dull finish to it, sort of dark gray. I'm not sure if the camera really picks it up. But this cylinder right here isn't done yet. I didn't do this chamber yet, but this guy did, and I'm not entirely sure if you could tell over the camera, but I'm just going to go through. I'm going to finish the rest, the other 14 valve seats, and then once I'm done that, I'm going to clean all the heads, and I'll be assembling them with these guys. They're Crane 1030 8-1 dual springs, and they're pretty standard. You see a lot of guys with like cam only LT1s or you know, other setups running these. They're pretty basic. I'm not running a radical cam in the Roadmaster, so I figured they'll suffice, and they're cheap, readily available. They're a nice dual made by Crane, so should work out. So basically what I'm doing for each of these, I'm just popping 2 valves out just for each chamber. I just put a little bit of oil on the stem because I'm going to be lapping it with this little OEM tool from Pep Boys. So a little oil on the stem, and then around where it contacts the valve seat, I just put a little bit of this grinding compound and, you know, stick this guy on, and I'm good to go. You have to be extremely careful not to get any of that grinding compound higher up on the valve stem. The last thing you really want to happen is for it to work its way up into the guide, because then all it's really going to do is open up the guide, and I freshly honed all of those. It's the last thing I want right now. So now I'm just going to move on to this second head, and that'll be that. So basically what I was doing there was just wiping down all the valve guides. I hit them with some brake clean and try to get in there with a little piece of shop towel to clean out any leftover grit, because I hit them with the flex hone, and the flex hone creates a lot of little particles, tiny, very, very tiny shavings and grit. So I'm just trying to clean those out the best that I can. Beyond that, I cleaned up the valves also with a little bit of brake clean too, and wiped them down to get any leftover lapping compound and old oil off of them. And after that was done, completely stripped both of the heads, took them outside, hit them with a little bit of degreaser, let them soak, and then hit everything with the hose, and should be good. I did go over them. I tried to dry them the best I could with the leaf blower, but I did go over them too with a little bit of WD-40, just to keep any rust off of these seats. You want to try to keep rust off of anything ferrous in these heads. I mean, the aluminum can oxidize too, but these valve seats, and especially the iron guides, you really don't want any rust forming in there too. It's no good. So right now I'm just gonna put a little bit of fresh oil on each one of these valves. I have half of them cleaned. I got to do the other 8 for the other head as well. But I'll just feed them through, and after that it'll be time to measure for some shims and I guess install the valve springs, and I should be good after that. Alright, so now that I have the tool on and everything's tightened up, it might be a little hard to tell, but it looks like the installed height right now with no shims, which is not advisable, but with no shims, the installed height comes out to 1.902, which you can see, flip it upside down for you, right there. So basically, you always have to run a shim. Usually, I think they're .020 inches is what they usually are. You always have to run a shim on an aluminum head, I should say. If not, the bottom of the dual spring will just dig into the aluminum and put shavings all throughout your engine, which is no good. Alright, so just a quick paranoia check. I got the shim on the bottom sitting in there right now. Got the micrometer back on, and as you can see, it's at about 1.845, which is right on the money according to the crane PDF. That'll give me a little more than 130 pounds on the seat, which is pretty much perfect. I mean, the cam's only a CC304. I am running the 1.7 ratio rockers to make up for the fact that it's so wimpy, but hey, whatever, it works. So it's been about a week. I'm finally getting back to working on this thing and putting the heads together. I finished lapping everything, and since then I've just been waiting on parts. I got a set of comp locators, and they're the inside locator type, not the outside, so the rim is on the inner diameter where it kind of goes around the guide. And from what I found out, the dual springs that I'm using, crane spec for their inner diameter is a little bit different from what they actually measure out to. I used my digital caliper to find out what they actually were and ordered these comp ones, which were actually a little bit tighter than I expected them to be. So I'm going to get these on. I've already finished one of the heads, and you can see it right here. I had to do a little bit of grinding on all of the spring locators because the pockets aren't machined fully, as you can see. I mean, the outer diameter of these locators is a little bit bigger than the outer diameter of like the actual spring pocket itself. So for the most part, all I really had to do is grind two spots very slightly, and I guess for the edges, only one really. If you look closely, it's kind of right there near the head bolts. So that's no big deal. I got a big bench grinder right here, which makes short work of them. But all I'm really doing is grinding those down, finally assembling them. I have to find the rest of my guide plates. These are AFR guide plates. They came off of the Cammaster's heads. I wasn't able to use them because I needed adjustable guide plates. So hopefully I can get away with using these guys. I just have to find the rest of them. The other 7 are probably floating around my basement somewhere, so I gotta go look for them. But yeah, this guy is fully assembled, fully oiled, ready to go. And now it's time to assemble this head, and once both are together, I'm gonna finish scraping the deck and just kind of drop them on. Alright, so I finished putting these guys together. It turns out I'm missing 2 rocker studs. I think I know where they are. I just gotta go dig for them. I know they're around. And then I gotta find the rest of my guide plates. But yeah, these guys are pretty much good to go. All I really had to do is put some sealant on this guy, but I'm gonna wait to really put this temp sender in until the heads are actually in the car and I have the headers on. Otherwise, there's probably about a 90% chance that I'm going to hit this little plastic piece on the end and break it. But otherwise, they look good. They're all cleaned up. I think I'm just gonna wrap them in a trash bag or something and let them sit until I'm ready to put them on the engine.